I don't know about you guys, but where I live, the weather is turning. It's getting closer to fall, and we should adjust our print-on-demand offerings accordingly. So in this video, for my own research purposes, and you guys can follow along, I'm going to be deep diving into what sweatshirts, to keep us warm when the weather gets cold, are selling best on Etsy using historical data, because I love to not guess, right? We don't need to guess. We're well past that. I'm going to use data to inform my decision-making process so I can launch new sweatshirts and hoodies. I love a hoodie more than the sweatshirt personally, but they're kind of the same thing. And that's how I'm going to inform my decision-making process for what I'm going to launch heading into the fall of 2024. So let's get to it. So again, as the weather gets colder, it almost feels like sweatshirts become the new t-shirts. And of course, t-shirts sell year round, but if you're new to this, I do recommend selling the Gildan 18,000 sweatshirt is where I would start. It is a staple in pretty much every print-on-demand seller. Well, if you sell apparel, I should say, in their catalog of offerings. Printful has this in a bunch of different colors from black to white and everything in between. Sizes ranging from small to 5XL. Price starts at $18.50, but if you have Printful Growth, which is not that hard to achieve, the price comes down to as low as $14.90. I have Printful Business, which is a little bit harder to achieve, but again, you can get there. If I can get there, I know you can get there. And my price is $14.50. So the Gildan 18,000, write that down if you're taking notes. And then for the hoodie, there is a Gildan 18,500. If you want to see it really quickly, you can just type it into the search bar up here in Printful, and you can see that it is, again, very similar. You'll never guess, but they added a hood and they added a front pocket, basically. Similar colors, and I've sold a ton of both of these. By the way, the hoodie has a little bit of a higher price point, as you'd probably expect. Now, more importantly, because these only matter if we make a sale, right? We need to research what's actually selling, and for that, we're going to jump on over to Etsy. And honestly, it doesn't need to be very hard. I'm going to go to the search bar. We can start very generic. I can just type in sweatshirt, and as the results load, I'm actually going to fire up my Everbee Chrome extension, because rather than combing through Etsy, which doesn't give us too much data, we can trust Everbee's engineers to give us either like accurate projections or hard data based on things like sales, favorites, sales per month, revenue, stuff like that. So I'm going to go over to Everbee and click Product Analytics. What it does by default now is it looks at this page of results, and that's 70 products total. And it's giving us the average favorites, 2,600, right? We kept it very high level, very generic, by the way. I didn't say, niche sweatshirt. I just typed in the word sweatshirt. Average monthly sales, 133. That's pretty incredible. What I actually recommend doing, though, is Everbee has a database of like almost 50 million products. If you just click once where it says search entire database, it's going to pull in results from the entire database. I don't want to limit the scope of my research unless there's a reason to, all right? I can't think of one. So I'm coming into this fresh, like we don't necessarily need to be in that action-taking mindset right now, right? Right now could just be discovery. Let's go look at what has worked in the past, because that's most likely going to show us what will work into the future. All right, as we head into fall 2024, we're going to hit the reset button. It's a new cycle, and it's an opportunity for us to list some warm apparel, if that's your thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm honestly going to go to the filters. And under product name, I'm probably just going to exclude PNG. You know what I mean? That way we try to filter out some of the mockups. And you can also use the price min-max there as well to do some of that. Okay, so we've got the word PNG excluded to hopefully reduce the number of mockups we see. And I sorted by the column for total sales so that we look at the cream of the crop. Because as friend of the channel, Steven from Hello Custom likes to say, success leaves clues. Let's study the best of the best. So the first listing here has sold just about 11,000 times, and it looks to be a custom birth month sweatshirt. Now, does that mean that's what we need to sell? No, not necessarily. Like if you're taking notes, write this down as a niche, but then also we need to take note of the primary thumbnail. The primary thumbnail, guys, look how many colors they offer on this listing. All right, it's no surprise. They offer multiple colors, okay? Black, navy, sand, white, military green, gray, pink, etc., red. What color did they choose to use as the primary? They use military green, right? So if we want to sell sweatshirts, regardless of this niche, we should take note. The number one bestseller military green in the primary thumbnail. You see what I'm saying? Like all this data matters. Now, this is just one data point. We don't want to, value it too much, but even things like the price point, take note of that. Next one is a monogrammed sweatshirt. Okay. And so that's another niche to write down. You could offer this in DTG. You could offer it in embroidery, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that, but Printful does offer embroidery. Not everybody does, and not a lot of people utilize this. So embroidery right here is something you should consider. There are sometimes additional fees associated with embroidery. If you use the text tool, you can actually save on some of those. Also, when they digitize your embroidery designs, there's like a one-time fee, but after that, you're in the clear. So monogrammed sweatshirt designs, again, you could pay attention to the keywords. If this is something you want to try to compete with and enter their niche, well, study what keywords they have included in their listing. You can also here in Everbee, if I move myself, do you guys see over here on the right-hand side of the screen, you can actually see what tags and various keywords this listing is indexed on. So personalized gift, gift for her, Christmas gifts, monogrammed, crew neck sweatshirt, wife, girlfriend, sweatshirt women, women's sweater, gifts under 20, etc. Gifts under 20, for instance, sometimes that's like, I always think of office holiday parties. I used to be the guy who would like MC the the white elephant, they would call it. Wasn't that like the gift exchange? I would MC it for the small company I worked at. And yeah, like sometimes you have rules for, how expensive it could be. So, gifts under 20, that could be a relevant tag, just saying. Pretty generic, but Roman numeral embroidery matching hoodie, custom anniversary date, couple hoodies. Another great idea, guys. All right. How many times has that sold? 7,135 times. I mean, check that out too. Even check out how they did the mock-up, by the way. If you want to offer embroidery, which tends to be smaller design spaces or smaller designs as well. By the way, I know this from firsthand experience. Printful does offer large embroidery. I've done it with my Ryan's Method stuff. I've got the, hoodies in my closet. I'll probably bust them out in some future videos, but the large embroidery, again, could be another option for you to stand out. It definitely pays to be a little bit different from the crowd. You're going to have competition. Yes, of course you are, right? We're keeping it very high level in this video, but like these are considerations that you need to make. I always like to have some edge. Like if it's that I offer not just embroidery, but large embroidery, and I'm one of few people doing that, that's something for me to, optimize my listing around. That I mentioned that because look at how they do their embroidery here. It's pretty small, right? And that's fine. They do a great job of their mock-ups and kind of using that as a value proposition. Hey, like it's really good looking embroidery. It's Roman numerals. Like it's very specific. And this is what it's going to look like. And then they zoom in all the way, right? And they've got the his and hers kind of dualistic colors where they've got the white on the brown and then they got the brown on the white. Okay. And they also do the sleeve embroidery, which I know is popular as well on a lot of these Etsy listings. All right, let's speed it up a little bit. Nurse stethoscope sweatshirt. And this has sold 6,854 times. And this is a zip sweatshirt. Yeah, so a zip sweatshirt. By the way, Printful also has those, just mentioning. Custom text hoodie. They do the front and the back. Okay, and I mean, I've had guests on the channel. Like I've interviewed guests that were doing 100K revenue a month. That was Q4, but still counts. All right. They did it offering like generic products, okay, generic print on demand products with just high level basic customizations like the one you see here. Yeah, that's a little bit of extra work, but you can always hire a virtual assistant to basically handle that for you, get the mock-ups done, get the confirmations from the customers, etc. It depends on how custom you really want to get. But I mean, this sweatshirt right here, or that listing has sold 6,566 times. The next one says Dad Embroidered Sweatshirt. It looks like very similar to that matching couples, except they're not doing the matching thing for couples, but they are doing the embroidery in the same spots, smaller embroidery. You can see mom established year, dad established year, and then the names of the kids on the sleeve. You've probably seen these before. It doesn't have to be scoped as moms and dads, right? But think of this combo, okay? If you're thinking outside the box, like I said, you could have a shop in a completely different niche, but maybe you can tailor your niche so that embroidery on the chest in the pocket area and then embroidery on the sleeve go together in a way that's relevant to your niche and people that are fans of that niche. Okay, think a little bit outside the box. This is just showing that sweatshirts specifically, right? Sometimes we pick a niche, other times we pick a product. Today we picked a product. These are things I would either be taking mental notes or writing them down. Monogram Quarter Zip sweatshirt. I have never really sold quarter zips through Printful, but let's see. Yeah, they do have an Adidas quarter zip. I'm not sure if they have any other ones, but they do at least have the Adidas quarter zip. Probably has a high price point. Yeah, so $60 price point because it's Adidas. Tends to be the case, but you know, if you have a specific buyer that wants it, they'll pay, right? University of Your Mom embroidered sweatshirt. Interesting. Okay, so is this large embroidery? Yeah, so this is large embroidery that I was alluding to earlier. Not a lot of people probably offer it, so not a bad idea. By the way, embroidery, you're going to be able to command a higher price point if you choose to offer embroidery. And based on what we're seeing in terms of the most popular sweatshirts, it looks like, I mean, hey, can you finish my sentence for me? Does it look like we're seeing DTG prints or embroidery? Right? We're seeing more embroidery than anything else, so take a hint. Right? It doesn't mean you have to do embroidery, but it means, you know, if you want to compete with the best of them, you know, give the people what they want. Give the customers what they want. Monogram sweater here, gift for her, gift under 20. Interesting choice for titles. Another monogram quarter zip. Hoodie sewing pattern. Okay, that's a digital download. Skip past that. Disney family shirts. Not really relevant, but it slipped its way in because we sorted by total sales. Not everybody on Etsy is committing IP infringement on Disney. I got to assume some of these people actually have the rights to sell their Disney products. This says University of Your Mom. Again, interesting. University of Your Mom. Did I miss like a joke? Maybe it's like a recent trend or something like that. Or maybe it's custom. I don't know. Christmas whale. Ugly crew neck. By the way, we know the ugly sweaters too. Like we didn't even touch on that. I'm sure there will be plenty of time. But the ugly sweater themed listings are going to explode every, you know, end of the year. So you can start preparing whenever you're ready. You know what I mean? You could dedicate a whole Etsy shop to that and make an absolute killing in the fourth quarter. You know, it happens every year. But Christmas whale ugly crew neck sweaters, this is more of a niche play, I would say. Although another thing, remember we talked about in that first listing, look at the mock-up. They had the military green. They had a woman with blonde hair. What do we see here? We see a sport gray woman holding a mug again and brunette. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you have to get that specific about hair color and stuff, but the woman holding a mug in a cozy setting does seem to be kind of consistent, I would say, based on what we've seen. Now we're getting into more, I would say, niches. This says just custom pocket and sleeve embroidered sweatshirt. They're charging $28. Look at how they did their mock-up, by the way. You know what I mean? Take hints. If you're going to offer customization, study other listings that are offering customization. How are they calling attention to the value proposition? How are they setting themselves apart from their competition in search results where nobody's probably reading your title? They're probably looking at your price point and they're probably looking at your primary thumbnail. So I'm just saying sometimes it pays to bookmark. You know, you can right click and save these images to your computer and reference them later. But these are decisions that have to be made if you want to compete, you know, at the highest level, which is essentially where the money's made, right? Next one says Protect Trans Kids sweatshirt. Next one says Mama sweatshirt with kids' names on sleeve. By the way, you've probably seen this mock-up before, and you'll probably see it again. It is a very popular mock-up that you can purchase on Etsy. Next one, very similar. It says Custom Mama established 2022. I'm surprised they haven't updated their SEO. Oh, I guess they have. They updated the image, or the image says established 2021. The SEO of the title says established 2022. They should be updating both of those for 2024, right? I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. They could do any year, but, and by the way, guys, if you ever offer something like this, maybe we wrap on this point. If you offer something like this with a specific year, like I think if it's 2024 this year, then you should be selling to new moms this year because all of your previous sales, Etsy has data of what they typed into the search bar that led them to your listing that converted them into a customer. If your listing's years old, which this one appears to be, it says established 2021. Then you've got, you know, that's in the image, right? In the primary thumbnail. Then in the title, they've got established 2022. I would optimize both of those around 2024 for this year because your listing's probably also ranked on generic terms like gifts for new mom sweatshirt, mom established year. Like you're probably ranked on generic terms. Why not put your bid in for when someone searches for specifically the current year, 2024, and then next year, update all your listings, you know, January 1st for 2025, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Anyways, guys, I hope you found this useful. Like I would do this for myself. So I figured why not record it and make it a YouTube video. I do plan on launching a bunch of new sweatshirts. I haven't made it a priority as it's still pretty hot outside. I mean, I was in Las Vegas last weekend. It was like 105. I'm not going to lie. It was hotter than that some days. But it's going to be, before you know it, I live in Virginia. It's going to be cold. You know what I mean? Some of these days I feel like I walk outside and I'm like, damn, what happened to summer? Anyways, guys, hope you found this useful. Everbee is going to be linked in the description. That definitely expedites the research process and helps us skip past listings that maybe aren't as relevant or aren't as successful. Help us find the cream of the crop for evaluation. So I'm going to link to them at the top of the description. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon with another new video.